The girl ran toward his car just as the rain started pouring harder. "Please, wait!" Daniel Carter, a self-made millionaire, paused with his hand on the car door. He turned slowly, confused. The girl looked no older than 20. Her clothes were soaked. Her breathing was heavy. But what caught his attention wasn't the rain. It was the fear in her eyes. She kept looking behind her, like someone was following her. I have nowhere to sleep tonight," she said, her voice trembling. "Please, I just need somewhere safe." Daniel hesitated. He wasn't used to strangers approaching him like this, especially at midnight, especially outside his private business building. "You should try a hotel," he said cautiously. She shook her head quickly. I can't stay anywhere public." Daniel frowned. "Why not?" She didn't answer. Instead, she glanced behind him again. A black SUV slowly drove past them. The girl froze. Her fingers tightened. Daniel noticed. "Are you in trouble?" he asked. She swallowed. I just need somewhere safe. Just for tonight. I promise I'll leave in the morning." Daniel studied her face. She looked exhausted, terrified, and strangely sincere. He exhaled slowly. "Get in." Relief flooded her face instantly. Thank you so much." She quickly got into the passenger seat. As Daniel drove toward his mansion, he noticed she kept checking the mirrors every few seconds. Her hands were shaking. "You want to tell me what's going on?" he asked. She hesitated. "No, I don't want to drag you into anything." That answer made him more uneasy. They arrived at the mansion gates. The security guards opened the gate, and the girl seemed to relax slightly, but not completely. Inside, Daniel led her into the house. The staff looked surprised but said nothing. "You can stay in the guest room," he said. She nodded gratefully. "Thank you. I won't cause any trouble." As she walked upstairs, she suddenly turned. "Your security? Do they patrol all night?" Daniel frowned. "Yes. Why?" She quickly shook her head. "No reason." She disappeared upstairs. Daniel stood still, feeling uneasy. Something wasn't right. Hours later, the house fell silent. But upstairs, the girl couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, peeking outside. Her breathing quickened. She thought she saw movement near the gate. Her heart pounded. She stepped away slowly. Then she heard something faint, a sound outside. She walked quietly toward the door. The hallway was dark. She moved carefully, not wanting to wake anyone. Downstairs, security cameras captured shadows near the fence. Two masked men moving slowly, searching, watching. Minutes later, they disappeared. Upstairs, the girl sat on the bed, her face pale. "They found me," she whispered. Morning came. The housekeeper knocked on the guest room door. No response. She knocked again. Still nothing. She opened the door. The room was empty, the bed untouched, the window slightly open. The housekeeper frowned. Then she noticed something on the table, a folded note. She quickly took it downstairs. Daniel was having coffee when she approached. "Sir? The guest is gone." Daniel frowned. "Gone?" She handed him the note. He opened it slowly. "Thank you for your kindness, but I had to leave before they find me." Daniel's expression changed. "Find her?" He stood immediately. Check security footage. Now." Minutes later, Daniel stood in the security room. The footage played. Midnight. Two masked men near the gate, walking slowly, searching. Daniel leaned forward. "Zoom in." The guard zoomed in. The men looked around carefully, like they were searching for someone. Daniel's stomach tightened. "They were looking for her." One guard nodded. "Looks like it, sir." Daniel exhaled slowly. Why would someone be chasing her? And why did she leave alone? Something felt wrong. Daniel rubbed his forehead. Check cameras outside the property." They switched to street cameras. They saw her leaving early morning, walking alone, slowly, weakly. Then another camera showed something alarming. She stumbled, then collapsed near an empty street corner. Daniel's heart skipped. "Where is that?" The guard pointed. "Shh, 2 streets away." Daniel grabbed his keys immediately. "I'm going." Within minutes, Daniel reached the location. He spotted her lying near the sidewalk, unconscious. He rushed toward her. "Hey, can you hear me?" Her eyes slowly opened. Relief flashed across her face. "You came." Her voice was weak. "Of course I came. What happened?" She shook slightly. They found me." "Who?" Daniel asked urgently. Her eyes closed again. "People who want something." Daniel helped her into the car quickly. Back at the mansion, a doctor examined her. "She's exhausted and slightly injured," the doctor said. "She needs rest." Daniel nodded. Hours later, she finally woke up. Daniel sat beside her. "You're safe," he said gently. She looked around slowly. Relief filled her face. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause trouble." Daniel leaned forward. You need to tell me the truth." She hesitated. Then her eyes filled with emotion. "My parents died 2 weeks ago," she whispered. Daniel listened carefully. "They left me something important." "What?" She swallowed. "Documents, ownership papers, land worth millions." Daniel frowned. "And someone wants them?" She nodded slowly. "My father's business partner. He's been trying to force me to sign everything over." Daniel's expression hardened. "And you refused?" "Yes." She looked down. "He sent people to follow me, threaten me." Her voice trembled. "I had nowhere else to go." Daniel sat quietly. Now everything made sense. Just then, Daniel's phone rang. Security. "Sir, there's a suspicious vehicle outside the gate." Daniel stood immediately. He looked at her. "You're not going anywhere." She looked surprised. "Why are you helping me?" Daniel paused. Then he answered quietly, "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing, and I never forgot." She looked at him, her eyes softening. Outside, the black SUV slowly drove past the mansion again. The tension grew. Daniel turned to security. "No one gets in without my permission." Hours passed. Finally, the SUV disappeared. Days later, Daniel arranged legal protection. Lawyers handled her documents. Authorities became involved. The threats slowly stopped. One evening, she stood in the garden, calm for the first time. Daniel walked toward her. "You're safe now." She smiled softly. "You didn't just give me a place to sleep. You saved my life." Daniel smiled slightly. "You just needed someone to believe you." She nodded. "And I'll never forget that." Sometimes, all it takes is one act of kindness to change someone's life forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support helps us bring more powerful and emotional stories like this, because sometimes the stranger asking for help is carrying a story that could change everything, and sometimes giving someone a place to sleep means giving them a second chance at life. And Daniel knew. That night, when she ran toward his car, neither of them expected that everything would change. Daniel thought everything was over. But 3 nights later, the tension returned. It was close to midnight when the security alarm suddenly beeped. Daniel immediately sat upright in his office chair. His phone rang almost at the same time. "Sir, we have movement near the back gate," the head of security said urgently. And Daniel's jaw tightened. "Same vehicle?" "Yes, black SUV." Daniel stood immediately. "I'm coming down." As he stepped into the hallway, he noticed the girl, Emily, standing outside her room, her face pale. She had heard everything. "They're back, aren't they?" she whispered. Daniel nodded calmly, though his expression remained serious. "Stay inside your room. Lock the door." Emily shook her head. "No, I don't want to hide again." Her voice trembled, but there was determination in her eyes. Daniel paused, surprised by her courage. Before he could respond, another call came through. "Sir, the vehicle just parked outside. 2 men stepped out." Daniel's expression hardened. He turned toward Emily. "I won't let anything happen to you." Emily nodded slowly, but her hands were shaking again. Downstairs, the security team watched the cameras carefully. 2 men stood near the gate speaking on their phones. Then one of them pointed toward the house. Emily, watching from the monitor beside Daniel, suddenly gasped. "That's him!" Daniel turned quickly. "Who?" "My father's business partner, Mr. Lawson." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "He's here himself?" Emily nodded. "He's desperate. The documents are worth everything to him." Daniel crossed his arms. "He won't get them." Outside, the men remained near the gate for several minutes. Then something unexpected happened. Mr. Lawson stepped forward and spoke to the security camera. "I know she's in there. Tell her this won't end unless she talks to me." Emily's breathing became uneven. Daniel looked at her. "You don't have to speak to him." But Emily shook her head slowly. He won't stop, not until this ends." Daniel hesitated. "You're not going out there?" Emily nodded. "I won't, but I need to call the police." Daniel agreed immediately. Within minutes, authorities were notified. The SUV remained outside. The tension inside the mansion grew heavier with each passing minute. Emily sat quietly, her fingers tightly clasped. "I thought I lost everything when my parents died," she whispered. Daniel sat beside her. "You didn't." She looked at him. "I almost did. Until that night." Daniel understood what she meant. The night she ran toward his car. The night she asked for somewhere to sleep. Suddenly, security spoke again. "Sir, police units just arrived." Emily exhaled in relief. Through the cameras, they watched officers approach the SUV. Mr. Lawson argued briefly before getting back into his vehicle. Within seconds, the SUV drove away. The tension slowly faded. Emily leaned back, exhausted. "It's finally over," she whispered. But Daniel wasn't fully convinced. "Maybe, but we'll stay cautious." The following days were calmer. Lawyers finalized her inheritance transfer. Authorities issued warnings to Mr. Lawson. The threats stopped. For the first time, Emily began to smile again. One evening, she approached Daniel in the living room. "I wanted to thank you properly." Daniel looked up. "You already did." She shook her head. "No, I mean really thank you." She placed a small folder on the table. Daniel frowned. "What's this?" "My father's company. It needs leadership. I don't have experience yet." Daniel looked at her, surprised. "You're offering me partnership?" She nodded. You helped protect my future. I want to build it with someone I trust." Daniel was silent for a moment. Then he smiled slightly. "You're stronger than you think." Emily smiled back. "I learned that from you." Weeks later, the company began to grow. Daniel guided her. Emily learned quickly, and slowly her confidence returned. One evening, they stood outside again, looking at the city lights. Emily spoke softly. "That night, when I said I had nowhere to sleep, I felt like my life was over." Daniel nodded. "And now?" She smiled. "Now, I feel like it just started." Daniel smiled too. Sometimes, life changes in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes, a stranger asking for help becomes part of your future. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness creates the biggest impact. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support helps us bring more emotional and suspenseful stories like this. Because you never know. The person asking for help today might be the reason your life changes tomorrow. And Daniel knew. The night she left that note before disappearing, he thought he lost her story forever. But instead, that night became the beginning of something neither of them expected.